Hi, and thanks for stopping by for this short brain break. I'm excited to share something useful, actionable, and actually good for you in the minutes ahead. I'm Petry, Leanse, Chief People Officer at Lucidworks, and throughout my career in tech, I've been fascinated by how work affects our life experience, a topic I study through the lens of neuroscience and cognitive psychology. So as we begin, let's look at an image. You see two very different worlds in this picture. I wonder, which one were you drawn to? Which captured your attention or your curiosity? If it was the green, natural side, you're far from alone. That's because on a deeply biological level, we are drawn to nature. It has a powerful effect on us. It shifts perception and cognition and brings our senses into balance. Viewing nature, we become more creative, more open and calm. Maybe you get a sense of that as you look at the little fern in this image. Patterns in nature affect the brain's chemical and electric currents and soothe our central nervous system. It's a biological effect, part of who we are as humans, yet we don't always activate it. Take today, for example. Your brain has been working hard in the world on the left, hopefully in less drab and sterile ways than this picture suggests, yet very much in the world of linear thought and abstract concepts, so different from the natural world. So the next few minutes will be about recharging your brain by balancing it with nature. See, your brain is a marvel of adaptation to the world you inhabit. It tracks what you spend time doing and optimizes to do more of that. It updates its wiring and capacity to become ever more effective at doing the things you direct it to do. Yet the things we ask our brains to do today are very different from the tasks of early humans. When our ancestors were finding their niche hundreds of thousands of years ago, they survived because that early hominid brain, with its newly minted prefrontal cortex and highly active limbic system, was so well suited to the environment we occupied. The savanna, the forest, the coastline, the desert, those were the places our ancient brains called home. Our brains became human amidst nature's expressions, and those of us here today, residents of places very different from those early homes, remain the product of that ancestry. The gap between that natural world and the reality we occupy today seems to challenge our attention, well-being, and happiness. The phenomenon is so identifiable, it's been labeled nature deficit disorder, a disorientation associated with modern ways of living and working, which leave us increasingly cut off from nature and our true selves. This disorientation often shows up as stress, the brain's response to real or perceived threat. Now, threat today isn't anything like our ancestors would have imagined. Things like deadlines or professional challenges or unrelenting notifications from our devices and apps, the always-on work demands we've somehow unintentionally created. Yet the brain can't discern the difference. It doesn't differentiate between threat to our preferences and threat to our survival. Evolution never anticipated the future our brains and we would occupy today. But there's hope deeply embedded in our biological roots. Connecting with nature. 20 quiet minutes in nature rests the brain's command center enough to replenish and prepare it for its next round of planning, integrating, and problem solving. 20 quiet minutes in nature awakens the brain's creative and generative cycles, often sparking insights, ideas, and aha moments. In nature, our blood pressure drops, breath and heart rate slow. Deep in the brain, the hippocampus guides the amygdala away from its alert mode, dissipating stress chemicals and facilitating objective thought. Studies show that people who regularly connect with nature report more health, life satisfaction, and focus than people who stay in urban environments. They laugh more and have stronger immune systems than the folks surrounded by walls. Now, this all might feel like bad news because with all that's happening in the world right now, Many of us are staying inside, often in environments that feel cut off from nature. But don't worry. Even a small nature intervention delivers results. 5 minutes of simply looking at pictures from nature is enough to partially reset the brain. Even if only on a screensaver, nature clears the mental windshield, as one researcher describes it, inviting clarity and ease to our thoughts. Maybe you feel this now. You've been looking at images from nature for the last few minutes. Do you notice anything different? Any relaxation or lift in focus than you felt before this talk? If so, imagine the benefits when you enjoy the real thing. People who increased their time in nature discovered higher levels of impulse control, creativity, and friendliness than they reported when they spent more time inside. In the words of Dr. Evian Gordon, who studies the effects of nature on our nervous systems, our early hominid brains evolved in response to survival pressures within the rhythms of nature. These patterns favored their survival and thus our emergence. Our lineage and our cognition is grounded in nature's changes, rhythms, and patterns. Dr. Gordon adds that unnatural environments, the type so many of us inhabit today, and our unnatural ways of spending time tax our mental processes with a subtle form of distraction and stress that compromises optimal brain functioning. Nature brings that back. Researchers Lisa Nesbitt and David Strayer agree. They use nature therapy to clear that mental residue modern day living creates. Nature, they say, allows the brain's command center to dial down and rest, reducing a certain type of theta wave exhaustion that comes from the sustained conceptual thinking required in most of our work today. When we're in nature, our brains recognize familiar ground that's been held in our genetic code for immeasurable time. That's why we reset sensory, emotional, and if we're walking, hiking, or otherwise active, motor functions fall into a more integrated, natural state. Maybe as you look at these images, you sense what I'm talking about. Maybe you even had a thought that started with, I wish I could be there. I get it. Our modern lives prioritize our work and our mental activity rather than our place in a larger world, out of and away from nature. Yet we still long for home. Don't be discouraged if you're city-bound and hardworking, as so many of us are. You can gain many of the benefits nature delivers without even leaving your desk. Even seeing images of nature delivers calming and focus-increasing effects. Having a little desk plant to look at can also activate the effect. But really, anytime, any way you connect with nature, you invite its benefits. Consider that as you quietly view the next few slides. Maybe take a deep breath as you enjoy this image. Let yourself sense relaxation and ease. Maybe bring to mind an image from this talk that you especially enjoyed. And start to come back with that image in mind. Maybe you'll find one like it and make a screensaver. Or maybe you'll think of it between sessions later today. Whatever you do, consider it a little offering from nature, ready to help you rebalance whenever and wherever you need to. And remember how much more is out there waiting for you in the real world, ready to reduce that deficit and help you recharge anytime you wish. Keep the gift of nature in mind today as a unique and deeply human way to activate. Thank you. I wish you a creative and enjoyable rest of your day.